guys, and welcome back to the Online Football channel. You've seen the title of the video. It is the England versus Croatia review and our England versus Scotland preview. First of all, you haven't seen already, England beats Croatia in a revenge game. 1-0 thanks to Raheem Sterling.
We were out for the game on Sunday, so we're probably a bit late to the review, but we thought when previewing the game against Scotland and looking ahead, we thought it was probably important to reference this game, so we're going to kind of reference the game throughout. Everyone knows what went on.
Yeah, so first of all, obviously the main talking point before the game, the lineup got announced I think a day before, didn't the lineup? I think we saw.
It was virtually a day, but the actual full lineup was in the morning.
Yeah, so obviously Raheem Sterling was the surprise package, perhaps. And
I disagree. I think
Sterling, Phillips, and Trippier the main three, we'll say. And Mings. Oh, there's quite a lot of people we didn't expect to start anyway. We'll say that. Obviously, Southgate started for 4 at the back. We've talked about in our previous video how we thought Southgate might possibly go 5 at the back. So obviously that's new. So yeah, 4 at the back for Southgate. Yeah. First of all, Harry, what did you think about the team? First of all, before you saw the game, what was your actual opinion on the team?
You know my thoughts on Sterling and stuff. So I think Sterling is one of Southgate's more trusted members of the squad. So I don't think that was a massive surprise to me.
Right.
There's a difference between it being a surprise and being what we wanted. We obviously wanted it to be
Jackie Grealish.
We wanted it to be Jack Grealish or Sancho, didn't we? We thought they had better seasons than Sterling. They were in better form, but Southgate went for his tried and tested experienced players in the first game of the tournament.
He did,
which at the time obviously was a bit. The one decision that I still don't get was the left back, because I just think what Trippier did in that game, as much as he didn't do anything wrong, Shaw or Chilwell, who are naturally left-footed, wouldn't have done anything worse. Then maybe there's something that we've not saw.
Possibly.
But obviously Calvin Phillips proved us all wrong with his performance, but. Yeah, the rest of the surprise. You say the 4 surprises, probably Mings, Sterling,
Trippier,
and Phillips. But Mings was obviously forced by Maguire being injured, so it was just out of him and Cody really. I couldn't see Ben White really getting a shout, to be honest, considering he was a late inclusion anyway. So Southgate wasn't expecting to have him if Trent wouldn't have been injured.
Right.
So I think Mings was probably the more obvious choice. Sterling is tried and tested. He's never really let Southgate down in the past. He's got a brilliant recent record for England in for a goal.
Yes.
So that was okay. But the Trippier and the Phillips ones were the ones that you looked at before the game and was like, are we going to have enough emphasis in that midfield with 2 holding? Obviously, when we lined up, it didn't start that way. You know what I mean? England were on the front straight away. It looks like Phillips was playing alongside Mount rather than alongside Declan Rice. Declan Rice was allowed to just start screen the defence and just help out defensively, and Phillips was given licence to go forward and link the play very well.
Obviously, I've spoken about previous videos before. I've never been the biggest fan of Calvin Phillips. I'll say that personally. Obviously, if these fans watching this video, I apologise, but I was simply never really a fan of him, mainly because I want to play attacking football. Obviously, we'll talk about the game now, but I'm saying before we actually kicked off, I thought 2 holding mids. I personally thought like yourself, Phillips would hold in the CDM with Declan Rice and Mount go further forward. I didn't really see the point of playing that, and I thought we have enough attacking impetus,
especially against a team like Croatia that plays with possession of the football,
and also who are an Asian team as well. Yeah. So if you expect to hold the ball,
if we're against like a fast sort of midfield that likes to go in transition with like Pogba, for example, with France, and then you've got your Mbappes, etc., Griezmann, people who like to play with pace and counter attack. Look, I could understand if he was playing with 2 sitters, but against like you said, an aging team and a team that relies on keeping possession in the midfield and building from there, I just don't understand why we weren't on the front foot. Obviously, that was before the game, and when we went into the game,
talk about the game. Obviously, England started good in the first 15 minutes, we'll say that. Obviously, Phil Foden hitting the post on his. I think it was our first shot of goal. I think it was, and then 5 minutes later, from a corner, the shot came out to Calvin Phillips, whose shot was well saved by the Croatian keeper. What is the Croatian keeper's name? I forgot.
It's not Subasic anymore.
No, it's not.
I'm not quite sure.
Let's get past that then. So that was obviously the first chance in the first half. I didn't really see personally many Croatian chances that I specifically remember in the first half. I think there was a shot from the edge of the 18.
Perisic, the one where it came back across. Yeah, that was the only chance in the first half. England, I thought, started out really, really well.
Very confident.
Very confident. Yeah, on the front foot, wanting to use the pace of Sterling, looking for Foden's sort of runs from the right into the left. Kane didn't really get on the ball much at all, to be honest. So he was kind of stranded there. But Mount played a very underrated role for me in that side. The pressing and the harrying, and even his just general link-up play was very tidy. There was nothing special, but it was tidy, and he got the job done really easily. And Calvin Phillips was more and more in the game than I thought he would ever be. He was linking play. His tenacity to close down as soon as the ball was lost was vital for England. And then, of course, Croatia have got quality in the team still, no matter how aging they are. So they took over and had a brief cut 20 minutes in the game where they held possession and they tried to threaten, but I thought England held out quite well until half time.
And obviously half time came, no changes from Southgate at half time. The second half comes 15 minutes into the second half. Calvin Phillips goes on an amazing run, beats two people, finds Raheem Sterling, and slots the ball into the back of the net. Obviously, more
of the same, really. It was how England started the first half, how they started the second half. Front foot, a bit of energy from our time. You can't, obviously where we are in Manchester, the good weather that we were promised that day wasn't the best.
Didn't come to fruition.
But in London it was like 27 degrees, hottest day of the year. So to play like that, I think was brilliant. So they got the burst of energy at half time, and then look, Sterling's goal, of course, made by I think Walker into Phillips, won it, and then Phillips obviously beat two men and did really well to find Sterling. But I saw this on a podcast yesterday, and it's so true. Sterling is such a complete player apart from his finishing.
Right.
The intelligence he has, and obviously it may have come from Guardiola, right? But his intelligence to make them runs. Look, Sterling was.
Oh, he's not laughing. Yeah, he had a butt behind, didn't he?
It's over there. The intelligence of him to make. Look, he was starting on the left, wasn't he? And it was Foden on the right.
Yes. The first half, if I remember, it wasn't the first. I can't remember the second half.
And where did he pop up for the goal? Through the centre. Further to the right, if anything. And he knows when, because with club, he makes them runs all the time. He knows when to, even if it is just a dummy run to allow space for the midfielders to push up.
Yeah.
His football intelligence is second to none. His pace, he's got good creative ability. It's just, if he's got too much time to think about it in front of goal, he panics. So it was actually good for him that it was a one-touch bang. You know what I mean? It wasn't like where he had to delay it. In the first half.
But there have been first-time shots before. As a Man City fan, he's missed a couple of chances for you in the Champions League.
Yeah, of course. But
first-time chances, don't you?
I mean, look, we can talk about that with Harry Kane. He missed a good chance at the end. I didn't realise how good of a chance that.
Yes, well, he did. Came across. He knocked himself unconscious in the post for that challenge as well.
Well, I thought the defender had touched it against Kane, but Kane had just completely misjudged it. But look, I'm the first to pick out Raheem's flaws because I understand what he is in his game, but I think his benefits he brings to the England side, Southgate knows, and of course, having him there and playing well will just motivate the likes of Grealish and Sancho to be better. And that's just going to be better for the England team. If countries know that it's just going to be Grealish every game or Sancho every game, there's no headache for them. They know what they're coming up against. If they're coming up against a Sterling, and then if Sterling can't get you, Grealish is on the bench and he could, or Rashford or Sancho.
Yeah.
It's a positive for England, and I just don't see how anyone can see it as a negative. I understand his finishing isn't fantastic, but I just think the benefits he brings to the England team is very unnoticed, but very beneficial for Southgate, and he sees that obviously because he plays him a lot of the time.
So obviously, like you said, Harry Kane had a chance like 5 minutes after Sterling goal as well, and then there wasn't really many other chances that space stick to man. Obviously, Croatia had a chance the last kick of the game.
The free kick's probably England's best of.
Yes, true. Mason Mount free kick as well, which, like I was saying, you said about Kieran Trippier as well. Kieran Trippier, we fought beyond free kicks, and obviously Mason Mount just took it anyway. So it's kind of anyway. Review the game straight away. So obviously, when you finished the game, we thought, okay, we're beating Croatia's 1-0. Do you think it was overall a good result, a good performance, or do you reckon there's still a lot of work to be done?
Well, there's work to be done. Of course there is, because that wasn't a complete performance. Well, I think people are very harsh on England because they're just waiting for that sucker punch. You know what I mean?
An 8-0 win.
But no matter what you say about Croatia, beating a World Cup finalist in the last tournament after them beating us in the last tournament in the semi-final. It's a fantastic way to start the tournament. Look, there's a reason why so many of this, every single England team bar this one has not won an opening game at the Euros. Not one. And you think of the teams we've had in the past with Rooney up front and Gerrard and Lampard and all them.
But do you think now, I think going into this game, do you think this is possibly the most pressure an England side has had going into the first game of the European Championship for a while?
Does that not make it better for you? you know,
for me as a fan or as an actual like in England.
I think like what I'm saying is in previous years there's been hope for England but not expectation.
Right.
I think there is an expectation on this side to do well in this tournament because of the quality they have. You know, look, you speak to. I've seen interviews with countless players from different national teams, and they always mention England, like the strength in depth they have. And Southgate is probably, I know Neville said it the other day, probably made for these sort of tournament knockout football. You know, he's had 4 major tournaments of experience with under 21s, and then through to England. He's worked with these players day in, day out for a long time now. He's got expectation on his shoulders, and he's had a lot of time to think about this first game, and I think he's got it spot on. Because, look, not just winning the game, the way we managed the game from Sterling's goal about the 60th minute, was it? 55 minute?
I think 10 to 15 minutes in it was second half, yeah.
Onwards was perfect, and it's something we didn't do in the World Cup semi-final. No. We didn't know how to manage a game, and I think he made the right substitute at the right time. He brought Bellingham on for his energy, Rashford in case we went on the break, but also, you know, Rashford's working hard, getting back and helping out the defence as well, and Calvert-Lewin near the end just to have an outlet and an aerial physical presence when Croatia were just lumping balls into the box hoping for knockdowns and stuff. Yeah. So I honest to God, I'm really, I won't say I'm impressed. I am. I think I am impressed because I didn't think England would win as well as they did. Look, it's probably good for England that they didn't win 4 or 5-0 because can you imagine what the reaction had been like?
I know.
This is a nice 1-0 win. We said it before, a win virtually secures your place out the group anyway. Yeah. So a point against Scotland, even though we do want to win it, we'll come on to that, would give us probably even top spot, to be honest, depending on what Czechs do against Croatia. So yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with, you know, obviously Calvin Phillips, man of the match by far. He was sensational and just shows how much we know about England. And look, maybe Calvin, like you said, Calvin Phillips isn't the most silkiest of players, but the role he has in the team is unmatched. And I'm not comparing him, but Kante is not the most flair player of all time, is he? He's not flicks, but the role he does for Chelsea and the role he will have for France is vital. Yeah. So there is different roles in the team that are like the likes of Phillips and Rice do that will not get all the headlines. Of course, Phillips has done because this was, you know, a surprise selection. But he could now go about his business in the next couple of games and do exactly the same, but he won't be as noticed as the ones up front. And I think that's vital that you get that midfield engine started straight away. Look, strikers are going to miss chances. There's going to be days where Kane's going to score 3. There is. But there's also going to be days where he's like the other day and he's going to be quiet and you're going to need other players to step up. And that's when you like Sterling, Foden, Sancho, etc. come into play.
So we'll talk about, obviously, the next game on Friday is England versus Scotland. First of all, we might as well talk about Scotland briefly. Obviously, they drew 2-0 to the Czech Republic.
Drew 2-0.
Drew 2-0. Lost 2-0. Lost 2-0 to the Czech Republic. Thanks to 2 Patrick Schick goals. Schick, not shit. Schick goals. One from the halfway line. As you've all seen the video, and a header as well. Scotland, I know many Scotland fans I've seen are very frustrated, liking about obviously team selection. Obviously, our team selection in the end worked.
What was the team selection frustrations?
So obviously, no Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney's injured. Che Adams didn't start.
Well, that's not their fault, is it? Tierney injured.
I know Che Adams didn't start. I've heard.
Adams, okay.
Yeah, so Ryan Fraser didn't start either. There's other players I know, Scotland players I know on the team who basically Scotland fans were frustrated that they didn't play the first team.
It was a weird game, that Scotland-Czech game, because Scotland were in the game.
Scotland had the better chances.
Yeah, up until the opening goal.
The second goal the Czech scored.
I was a bit disappointed with Scotland in the second half, I must admit, because I thought that...
Well, you say that. I mean, the chances they had in the second half, Scotland were harsh. I mean, obviously the one that Cassie scored on goal, keeper saved that one. It was a diving, I think, a header from Dykes as well, well saved from the keeper.
But I mean, for one, Adams has got to score that chance where the keeper saves it with his feet. Good save. No. But you put it anywhere other than straight at the keeper, and he's... And obviously the keeper does well for that.
That's something, but if he started the game, he possibly would have had low chances early in the first half, gaining his confidence. Obviously, James didn't start, came off the bench in half time.
Yeah, it makes it tough. It makes it tough for Scotland because you feel like Scotland's not. I was going to say guarantee free, but Scotland's 3 points where they could get the win in this group was the Czech game. You'd feel.
Yes. Obviously, England and Croatia are the top 2 seeds in the group, aren't they?
Yeah.
So.
And you wouldn't expect Scotland to beat either England or Croatia, really. On paper, you wouldn't. On paper, no. But look at it. Before the tournament, we had Scotland bottom of our group for a reason.
We still do. Yeah, we still do. We still think for the bottom.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean for a reason, because depending on the result against the Czechs, and we said that we fancied the Czechs, and we were right.
Obviously, like I said, talk about injuries. Obviously, in the Scotland camp, Kieran Tierney's injury is going to miss the game. Well, they said there's a chance he might be back in the game to Kieran Tierney. We have to find out.
They
anyway.
could be, honest to God, they could be forced to because they need a point at least here in this game.
And obviously, injuries now. Dean Henderson's now left the camp. Aaron Ramsdale's come back in England camp. Obviously, that got announced a couple hours ago when we recorded the video, recording the video on the Tuesday. So that's now been announced. Obviously, Sancho, Chilwell, and Henderson. Sancho, Chilwell, and Maguire were not in the team. In the squad, sorry,
yeah.
23 at all for the Croatia game. Do you reckon, we'll talk about team selection now, do you reckon there's a chance now that perhaps Harry Maguire may now come in for Tyrone Mings? Or do you think Southgate might now go 5 at the back?
How many days have we got till the game we've got?
So today's Tuesday when we're recording, the game is on Friday.
Yeah, so they were training yesterday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So 4 days of training for Maguire. You know what? I think he may play Mings again.
Okay.
And I think he'll give Maguire a bit of time against the Czechs and get him ready for the knockout stage. Be a bit unfair on Mings because I'm not the biggest fan of Mings. You all know, but
no, I don't think anyone said I want Tyrone Mings to start on my team.
But he was very good, and you can't argue against that. Against Croatia, obviously not tested as much Stones and Mings. It was a very comfortable afternoon for them in the end.
I feel like it was. Yeah.
But they got the clean sheet, and you can't argue with that. So yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say Maguire against the Czechs.
Okay.
And just with England, if England would have lost that game yesterday, I would have said yeah.
Right.
And then risk him, but I think his importance to the back line, there is no point in risking him getting an injury and getting him out the Euros forever. Not forever, but forever. Technically forever for the rest of the tournament because there's no point in it and getting ready for the knockout stage. And even if he's not ready for Czechs, if he can come off the bench, just get some minutes into his legs, it'd be vital.
And obviously we talked about the start of the video as the main turn behind head extension possibly for Southgate. Obviously is the likes of the forwards. Now obviously Sancho's not in the squad. Obviously Grealish is probably fighting to come back in the squad. Of course he is. Sterling obviously scoring, perhaps make his chance. Obviously start again probably a lot easier for him. Foden, good first half. I rarely saw Foden in the second half personally myself. Calvin Phillips and me, I feel like he's got to start a game out performance. He's not going to drop him.
He came off about 5 minutes after Sterling scored, didn't he? Rashford came on. Yes. Foden, yeah. So well, the dilemma is there because you could see quite easily Luke Shaw or Ben Chilwell coming in at left back for Trippier.
But also as well, are we playing? Do you reckon we'll play 4 or 5 back in Scotland?
No. I think he can't change mid-tournament, surely. No, I'm not. No, you can't change your formation mid-tournament. He's just confused the players. He's obviously decided on 4 at the back. It's a tough one because there's the dilemma in of getting the Group 1 this game, isn't they, are risking it going to the last game. And obviously England will go through now they've beat them because they will get at least a point out of Scotland, and you'd bloody hope so. So it's a tough decision for Southgate because obviously a lot of people want to see Grealish, but I think a lot of people are now understanding of him why he chose who he did and why. So I could see it, but I would say I think there's more chance of Foden dropping out and Grealish coming in than Sterling dropping out, if I'm being completely honest.
I see, yeah.
Obviously Kane is starting no matter what, and he'll want to get a goal to get himself kind of into the swing of things.
So obviously we said Jordan Pickford in goal. Would you keep the same back 4 or would you bring in a change of fullbacks or centre halves? You said already obviously you think Tyrone Mings will probably stay there with John Stones. Do you think Walker maybe drops or?
Nah, I can't see it. His experience, maybe Reece James in the latter rounds.
Right.
Not latter rounds, in the game if we're already through. I think he likes he's tried and tested, so I'd probably stick with Walker and then bring probably Shaw in at left back.
Okay. And the midfield 3, you keep the same?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was going to say Henderson, but you can't drop Phillips after that.
No. And then obviously the front 3 is obviously Sterling, Kane, Foden. Any of those 3 come out in your team for Scotland?
In my team, no, but I think Grealish comes in for Foden because Foden, it's good to have sort of fire in the belly of Foden, knowing he's got to be on his toes for his position, and he'll come back in the latter rounds like full of energy and stuff. So Grealish has got a point to prove, obviously. So I think he'll be perfect for this sort of game.
And then finally, your prediction for the England-Scotland game, right?
I'll give you a tight one, but I think a tight one in terms of like like cagey, but I think England have got too much quality for Scotland.
Right.
So I think England will win 2-0, but it's a comfortable 2-0.
I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to think it's going to be a very, very tense game at Wembley. I'm not going to think anyone's going to try and over-exaggerate anything. I think everyone's going to be very, very, very relaxed. Not relaxed, very, like, don't want to lose the ball. So they're going to not really press and come out of position that much. So I'm going to go for another England 1-0. We're going to do a Greece and win every game by 1 goal. So that's how we're going to win the Euros for me.
There you go. Not bad.
First of all, as well, thank you very much. 150 subscribers on the channel. We appreciate it massively. We said we wanted to hit 150 subscribers before the Euros, and we managed to do that, which is much, much appreciated. Yeah, obviously we're going to keep on doing videos on the channel. Most probably England ones, as who doesn't love England content. And yeah, that's it, guys.
See you later.
See you later.